We tidy up the table.
畫鼻屎先，啱啱畫唔到啊。
Okay, second topic. I'm not sure if you guys have heard about this. The Transport Ministry, they are looking into implementing eCall or emergency call feature in all new cars starting January 2019. This was announced somewhere end last year. So what's eCall? eCall is like a SOS button in your car to send distress call to emergency services when you get into trouble, like an accident. Russia is the only country now in the world that makes eCall mandatory feature in all new cars. EU will be implementing it starting April 2018. But they have done research like way before that, okay? This eCall thing, right? Do we actually need it? Is it like a situation where there are statistics showing that people are dying on the road after an accident due to late notification to emergency services? Is that the case?
Hold on, I need to update you on that.
Yeah.
Last night, I was talking to somebody in the MAA, Malaysian Automotive Association,
okay.
and they told me that the Ministry of Transport has finally decided to hold back on the implementation. No specific date yet. But before this, car companies were very concerned because although they made a lot of effort to talk to the Ministry of Transport, they could not get any answers with regards to the technical specifications. A lot of details which a car manufacturer needs, because you are talking about putting something into their car, like an accessory. And they need to test it, they need to understand the technical issues, because at the end of the day, it is their product that the customer knows. For example, in the past, in the early days of seatbelts, I remember, they installed seatbelts and some seatbelts did not work properly. But to the customer, it's Mitsubishi's fault or Toyota's fault. And actually, the fault is with the manufacturer of the seatbelt.
Supplier.
Yeah. So in this case, they want to know about this device, which is going to be put into their product, but they were unable to get any information. Now, the second part of it also is that it takes time to test and make sure a system is good enough. I think a lot of people outside the industry are not aware of the amount of testing that is done to make sure a car is reliable and durable and safe. They think that it's just like, say, a dash cam or GPS. Just stick it on the screen, so easy, and plug it in. But to a manufacturer, everything must be as perfect as possible because they also give you a warranty. They don't want something to fail or damage the rest of their car. So anything that is going to be installed in a car, they need to test. That is why in Europe, as you said just now, they've actually been evaluating this eCall system for the past 17 years.
Yep.
It's not something that they do overnight.
Correct.
Rear seat belt, when they wanted to implement it, I remember talking to someone in one of the government departments, and he said they wanted the middle one to be a 3-point. Okay? And I said, do you understand that the one is a structural issue? You must mount it on the floor properly and all. You cannot simply retrofit. He said, you can retrofit it. And I said, how? He said, just drill in the floor lah. And I said, my God, you want to drill in the floor. You don't understand that today's cars, you cannot simply drill a hole in the floor. But that is the mentality. I think in government departments, no offense to them, they are not technical people, but they introduce regulations where they imagine that this month, I want to introduce a regulation. Next month, you can implement it, It's not that easy in a complex machine like a car.
Yeah.
And I think the best statement I got was from a former CEO of BMW, Germany.
Okay.
I remember I was having dinner with him about in 2003. His name is Professor Helmut Panke. And we were talking about regulations and all. And he said, yes, governments can introduce all kinds of regulations. That is their job. But they cannot tell the car companies what to do. The solution should be found by the car companies themselves to meet the regulation. Because the car companies are the technical people, not the government. The government can say, I want your exhaust emission level to be this low, or I want your consumption to be at this level. Then it's up to the car companies to meet it. And of course, reasonable time must be given to them because R&D and all takes time, right? So that is how the Malaysian government should approach rather than simply just say, we want to have this law. And nobody knows about it. Right?
So there's no news on when's the next
No,
date
at the
that-
moment it's just held back, and I think they now realize that they should discuss with the industry.
Yeah. So that's a good move. So I'll just go through like quickly how this thing actually works, right? Suppose you have an accident, and then the airbag the airbag system deploys, or you manually press the SOS button if you need help. The system gets the GPS location and then send the vehicle info and details to the emergency response center. I guess this is like one company that supplies this system, right? And request emergency response from, let's say, hospital, and an ambulance is then deployed to your location to save you. I'm just curious, can we use that when there's like a snatch theft or carjacking going on, and then they send an ambulance?
I don't think that's the purpose of it.
Yeah,
So it's only for ambulance, I guess, right?
For somebody who has an accident.
Let's go back to the need of this particular feature, right? So this eCall is expected to reduce emergency response time by 40 to 50%. I mean, nowadays we all have handphones, right? Do we actually need this feature? Hans, what do you think of this?
I think what is the objective of this in the first place? I mean, we have a history of, like Chip said, we just come up with proposals and measures, but what is the end goal over here?
Yeah.
If your end goal is to promote road safety, to reduce road fatality rates, then the logical move will be to trace back what is the cost behind Malaysia's high level of fatality rates.
Exactly.
And if you look at our fatality rates, majority of them are motorcyclists. So what is where does eCall comes in the picture? Then it comes to safety of motorcycle lanes. I think you guys have talked about it earlier.
Yeah.
And driver education, for
Yeah.
example. And my biggest gripe of all, if you want to reduce fatality rate, the most basic thing is to wear your seatbelts.
Yeah.
Rear seatbelt enforcement. What happened to that? You just look at ride-hailing companies, very popular now. Your Ubers, your Grab, everybody sits behind. How many of the passengers actually even belt up, even buckle up behind?
Yeah. Do they even know that it is a must for them to?
They know, but nobody
Buckle up.
cares. But
Right.
so enforcement is not even there. And these are very, very basic things. Seatbelt is the most basic of all safety regulations. If you can't even get that right, why talk about something which is a bit too far, so distant away?
And might not even pull down the fatality rate.
And eCall is, to me, like a reactive system. You are talking about after the accident has occurred. When actually, what we need to do in Malaysia is to address the cause of accidents in the first place and bring down accidents.
Yeah.
Not, say, we have a high accident rate, so we must introduce this system so that we can rescue people earlier. Why not? Why not reduce
Go down to
accidents?
the root cause in a way.
Yeah, that's what
Try
we're
to solve
talking
it.
about.
Yeah. I think I want to bring two examples here. So around the world, okay, I wouldn't say around the world, I would say that from my reading, there are two countries which have a strong track record of bringing down road fatality rates very significantly within a short period of time. One is Japan. Road fatalities in Japan peaked sometime around the 70s. And after that, it dropped consistently, and right now it's one of the lowest, one of the safest in the world. And they didn't do that, they didn't achieve it with fancy technology. It was just very basic. Enforcement of rule of law and driver education. Another country will be Australia, especially the state of Victoria. Now, state of Victoria is a bit controversial. They have a lot of speed cameras everywhere. Some people hate it. People call it a nanny state. But for better or worse, their roads are one of the safest in the world. And they achieve it simply by, again, very, very strict enforcement of traffic laws. They just enforce speeding laws in the first place. You bring down speed. I mean, among petrol heads, there is a strong debate about whether, speeding kills or not. But put that aside first. That's the law. They simply enforce the law very strictly. There is very little leeway. I think if let's say the speed limit in city centers is, I think 40, 50. If you exceed it by 25%, 30%, your car will be impounded, and if you exceed it very significantly, your license will be suspended. It's very, very severe penalty. I mean, it's human nature. We need that carrot and that stick. It's just that. So these are cars itself to these days are very, very safe. There is so much active and passive safety feature. Even in the Malaysian context, your cheapest product Axia, for example. I mean, just wear your rear seat belt. Look, you will see a very significant reduction in fatality rates. You wear a rear seat belt not to protect yourself, not just to protect yourself. And as a driver, you need to insist your rear passengers wear a rear seat belt. For me personally, I will refuse to drive my car until my rear passengers buckle up. I say, I don't care about your life, man. I care about myself. You will kill me if you slam into me. Correct. You want to die, it's your own problem.
Yeah.
You do what? You refuse to buckle up, get out of my car. It's just that. Yeah.
That's good.
I think this eCall thing, what puzzles me is that they want to introduce this feature, but as I said, they are not telling the car companies, we want this feature. From what I understand, they said they want the car companies to take the device from one company, one supplier.
Okay.
And that, that to me...
It's an unknown supplier?
I don't know who the supplier is, but that's what I heard from the car companies. Okay. And to me, that's a case for our powerful competition commissioner to come in, because the competition commissioner is always saying, there must be no monopoly. I think they pay a lot of attention to the car industry because they don't even allow the sales data to be published.
Yeah, it's so difficult for me to do market analysis now.
Yeah, so they need to advise the government, the Ministry of Transport, or what? Hey, you cannot say only one person, one company is a supplier. That goes against the Competition Act. Or maybe because it's a government, it's a different set of rules. But I think the industry does not like that, because that will lead to high costs. Because one company has a monopoly, they can charge as much as they want.
Just like Smart Tech.
But I think everyone is relieved that it's deferred for now, and they have a chance to discuss with the ministry a bit more about what can be done.
Yeah.
I think the other problem of giving them the benefit of the doubt. So maybe there is the late arrival of emergency services is a problem. Then it goes back into driver's education again. We all drive in Klang Valley and KL. We have seen how drivers are slow in giving way to emergency services vehicle.
Yes.
And the use of the emergency lane.
Yeah. So why not just, that is the root cause of the problem, right? Why not tackle what is immediately on hand? So what if you have an eCall? Let's say, assuming that you have your ambulance is still not going to reach there on time.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes back to poor driving education in the first place. You see an ambulance that's trying to get past on the other lane, and then you are on the third lane, the ambulance on the first lane. You're like, oh, okay, the ambulance over there is not my problem. I'm not blocking it. But the fact that you are on the third lane and you're not moving aside, the guy on the second lane can't move aside, and that causes the guy on the first lane has no room to move aside. So it's very basic thing like that.
Yeah, so there are certain things that the Transport Ministry is doing right, which is like enforcing or mandating ESC in all new cars starting June 2018. Right, that should help prevent accident.
Yeah,
right?
Of course, yes.
Yeah, so that's a good move.
But it goes back to I still have a counterpoint to that. It still goes back to driver's education. Never mind about ESC. How many drivers even know how to use ABS in the first place? But never mind about ABS. How many drivers know basic defensive driving in the first place? Look, you don't even use your turn signals, you don't even buckle up your seat belts. What's the point of talking about how many airbags your car have, whether you have ESC and all that? Come on, you're not even doing the most basic thing.
Yeah.
All these features like ESC and ABS do add costs to the car. It's not for free, and you can't expect the car company to be charitable and absorb the costs.
Which then,
Malaysians, they want, what are we talking about?
We
they
want
everything,
but we don't want to pay.
In fact, that's something that has been part of the Malaysian motorist mindset for a long time. Long ago, some Japanese guy told me, he said, Malaysian customers are the most difficult. They want a lot, but they don't want to pay. When the car company gives you a very cheap version, people won't buy it because it doesn't have all the things. But in other countries, like in Japan or Europe, when people
steel caps bias.
When people pay a very low price for their car, they accept that it has steel wheels, it won't have air conditioner, it won't have power steering, it won't have central locking. They accept that because they pay a low price, but maybe because our people here perceive
we pay a lot for our cars.
They pay too much.
Our car prices.
Playing a devil's advocate, I understand where the consumers are coming from, why you expect a lot from your cars, because you're paying a lot of money for it.
Yep.
But take it to the government, man. The car company has nothing to do with that.
Yeah. So all this new stuff, new gadget, new features that's adding on into all these new cars that's coming like 2018, 2019 and all that. The RightGet has been promised like a 30% drop of car price by next year, right? So
Isn't that the
how is
election
that
promise from the last?
correct? The GE13, from GE13 is supposed to drop 30% by next year. It's already almost.
Next election is already coming, so
There'll be a new promise,
no valid.
refreshed and all that. So with all these new things added in and all that, how are they going to reduce the price, right? Car manufacturers have to absorb, which then also transfer to us car buyers, which make car costlier.
I also like to add one point to that. Some people see it as, you are an industrial company. It's your responsibility to ensure safety of your customers and all that. True, that is correct. But a lot of people can't, because of our moral compass, we find it very controversial and very offensive to say that to ensure someone's safety, to save a human life, you need to pay money for it. It's a life. Life is priceless. But I'm going to say something even more very controversial to that. No, your life is not priceless. Everyone's life, mine included, yours, all of us here, there is a life associated with it. Why? Why do I say so? If you don't agree to that, talk to your insurance company. If something happens to you, you die, how much does the company reimburse you? Or if something happened to you from the negligence of somebody, how much is that company going to reimburse you, the cost of your life to your family? That is the value of your life. And insurance companies have a very specific way of calculating the value. So our life have a value. The whole mindset of life is priceless. It's nice to hear, nice to say, but the cold hard truth is that the world doesn't work that way. If you want additional safety, you want to ensure your safety or your family's safety, you have to be prepared to pay more for it. That's just how the world works. But that's where government regulations come in. You can't have free market going out of control and all that. So that's where government regulations in mandating minimum safety requirements, our UNECE and all that, that's a good move. Then there is the other part about ensuring your road structure is safe and sound. You have good you have adequate lighting and the adequate maintenance and enforcement of traffic regulations. Everything comes together. So safety cannot be achieved by mandating manufacturers to add more things to the car. The government has a role to play in ensuring the infrastructure around it is good as well.
Yeah.
I think you're right. The government can do its part by introducing new safety regulations. For example, I think Malaysia takes the lead in ASEAN, in terms of safety standards. And it forces manufacturers, because if the government say, I want 2 airbags, you just have to meet it, otherwise you cannot sell your car. At the same time, the government also needs to understand how the industry works and that it cannot demand regulations that are too high, because the cost of meeting them means the cost of the car will have to go up. For example, now that we go for the UNECE regulations that you said, I understand that, like Hyundai, where previously they could take a general market
general
product.
specs, yeah.
Now they have to take a European one, which
add
costs more to them because they need a structure that is stronger to meet the UN regulations. This is not to say that we have been getting unsafe cars before, but you have to pay more in order to get more safety, and people have to understand that.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't. They want it for free, and that's not right.
Then again, it depends lah. Like feature like this eCall, right? I feel it's not a need, right? If government will make it a need, then I'll have to pay for it. No choice. What do you guys think? If you guys want to tell us more, share your opinion about this eCall feature and all that. Would you want to have it in your car? Comment down below.